situations where I like run into older women, more so sometimes men, but really women, because of like mommy issue stuff. Really, I always like run to people. Not that I've really talked to anybody for real in years, but I run to people who are let me help you lunatic-y, the quote unquote I'm grown, you're a child types. And they always end up leaving me for like some dude. I even run into dudes that do this, but I'm pretty sure I like wanted that last person who I ran into a situation like this with to like take me to Chuck E. Cheese for my birthday, or in general. They even lied and said they were going to take me to Build-A-Bear. I'm not even going to go into that story. But I mean, I knew I should never talk to this person or gave them the time of day in the first place. I was more so an emotional therapist and giving advice to them, to be honest. But I'm not going to go into that. I just knew I should have stayed away from her ever since the first time I saw her, but I didn't because I felt bad eventually. She was always crying and depressed and stuff, but I shouldn't have, but I don't know. I just feel like I've never really had anyone. I mean, a lot of people really haven't. Everything is very superficial. But it's like, I feel more so like I don't feel all the emotions that maybe other people feel, other than like empathy and sympathy and stuff. But it's also because, I mean, I've never had anybody or been in like a family ship or quote unquote relationship to really feel all the like lovey-dovey type stuff. I guess it doesn't really matter much though. But I mean, I do sometimes still want a parent in the family, but I know that like people are so dysfunctional and abusive, especially when it comes to people in a parent role. It would just be like being under some ignorant person that is weird and messed up and abusive and toxic and sees nothing wrong with anything they do and feels like they can do and say whatever they want to me. Like, I could tell a whole story about something that really snapped me back into reality of why I shouldn't want a parent, but I don't even know if I should go into that. That had me in like a split MPD emotional flashback mode for days, but pretty much it reminded me of like how the people that are above you that are quote unquote grown are always going to be abusive, covert sexually abusive, stuff like that. Nothing happened to me though, but something happened to someone else and I tried to intervene, or I did, but the person ran and then they got their little church folks to come and back them up and act like I'm the bad guy because I'm a quote unquote child and all that bull crap. But yeah, so I can say the point I'm getting at, which is that I'm definitely not a very happy person, but I still wouldn't say I'm like depressed. I wouldn't even use the whole high functioning depression thing. I mean, of course, when I was in the torture situation, I'm gonna probably feel like depressed and stuff when I'm being starved and drugged and all the different stuff that goes on in these systems, or even just abusive family systems in general. And I wouldn't even say that I'm always in a bad situation. I would say I'm always in a lot of like spiritual warfare type situations, more so. A lot of opposition when you have a call in your life, but also, like I already said, it came to the conclusion of when you're in situations where people feel like you're on the bottom of the caste system and you're lower than them, you're always going to be having a lot of people treating you like crap and coming at you for no reason. You're always going to be the emotional punching bag when you're the orphan, you're the bad guy, the person that's not in quote unquote functional society. And that's why you really got to fix it. Okay, I probably still sound sick, but it's the next day and I thought of something else I could add on, which I guess I was kind of thinking of like last night or whatever day that was, but I just forgot about this part. So having people tell me that like my life is terrible or it's always been terrible, or that I'm going through constant torture, although I can't say the whole constant torture thing. At least the person that comes to mind, or I guess the person that was saying, I don't even know if I'm saying this right, but they were more so talking about like different little, I guess, sexual comments that people would make. But I mean, we live in a hypersexual society where paraphilias are normal. Everybody's turned down and traumatized whether they want to admit it or not. And it's normalized to be hypersexual and a paraphiliac, as I like to call it, or thalemite, as I like to call it. But it's not normal to say that you don't want to have these issues, or it's like it's taboo to talk about wanting to get help for them, but it's not taboo to have them. So like you can't say I'm a non-offending or say I don't want to do this, because then people will tell you about how it's good, but and that you're just like, I don't know, you want to be like morally self-righteous or something like that. But then when you say you have it and you don't care, then it's okay to people. But anyways, the person that said the whole constant torture comment, they were more so actually trying to victim blame me for, I guess I could say, SA that hasn't happened anyways. Because I mean, even when I was in my previous abuse situation, there's always like a lot of covert essay, and in the Cash for Kids system there's a lot of like covert essay and weird comments. But I mean, I think I might have mentioned this, but I don't know if I uploaded the video here, but I'm pretty sure I did. But pretty much like people trying to blame me for things that haven't happened by saying if I wasn't in the situation I was in, and if I was like indoors more, then I wouldn't have to worry about people doing or saying, well, I guess I could say saying things to me, but I mean, people are always going to talk. And it's like, I mean, I don't have parents or a family or 19 bodyguards, so it's like, I mean, even when I was still living with my abusers, or being passed around, at least living with different people or being in the Cash for Kids system branches, not when I was in the Cash for Kids system, when I was out, at least of most of them, I mean, I'm still gonna have to like go get something to eat. I'm still gonna have to like go places. I'm not, or at least, well, yeah, I wouldn't be able to just like have myself locked in a building all day, at least depending on what type of Cash for Kids system branch I'm in. So it's like, I mean, people are still gonna be able to say things. The little Chomo, SA, or Marine Kingdom agents, I mean, they're still gonna try to shoot their shots, and I mean, things are still gonna happen pretty much. It's like, unless I have 5 bodyguards with me, I'm still going to have to ride public transportation because I can't drive. I'm still going to have to get on the bus. I'm still going to have to get on whatever, walk wherever. Even if I did have parents in the family, they're not going to hold my hand and go everywhere with me. So it's like, why try to blame me and tell me that I'm putting myself in a constant torture situation? Well, really, it's not anyway. I feel like that's really a weak comment and a petty comment anyways. And it's like, I really don't talk to people, but when people do talk to me, or when I do talk to people, it's like it's always some weird, toxic, blamey type stuff. I don't even say blame me. It's not even always a victim blame situation like this. And I don't even want to say victim because nothing's even happened. And I don't even really like the whole victim label anyways, but I guess you could still consider it victim blaming, but I don't know. Because nothing really happened for me to say I was a victim, but it's just so annoying when people do things like that and they tell me it's my fault that things that haven't happened will happen, because pretty much it's my fault that I could be at risk and things could happen to me because I don't have anybody and there's nobody to protect me or stand up for me. And it's like, I mean, I do the protection prayers and nothing's ever happened since me being out here. I mean, sure, there's like people's little comments to me and treat it like crap, but I mean, my abuse situation was constant torture, and nothing's happening right now. Nothing's happened since I left. I mean, sure, there's gonna be the police run-ins and all the different bull crap, which honestly, most of those situations are really racial bull crap, but I'm not even gonna go into that. It's like, but then again, that's not even really what the constant torture quote-unquote person was talking about. They're not even talking about the police situations that happen often, which honestly that's more of something to worry about than Marine Kingdom agents and their little sexual comments. But it's like, anyways, to get to the point I was getting at though, I was gonna say that like nothing's even really happening. It's like I have people trying to make me feel like I should be like, it's like they want me to be depressed and stuff, acting like I'm in like some horrible situation that I'm really not in. But then it's also kind of like, I mean, am I just so used to worse stuff happening to where I don't see anything wrong? But it's like, I'm not even in a situation though. I mean, I am traveling off and on, but I'm not even technically homeless. I have been like paying, I guess I could say, utilities. Oh, anyhow, I gave me a place to stay. But I haven't been there recently because of a long story. I'm also allergic to building chemicals, but I was looking for like a seasonal job, so I'm not like in the same state as the place I stay in right now. But the seasonal job thing kind of, it's been a little drifty, but that's kind of whatever. But yeah, so I'm not even really full-blown homeless right now, but I don't even like the term homeless anyways. But yeah, so there's that. So it's like, if people wanted to make me feel like I should be depressed and like running around crying because of being quote-unquote homeless, I'm not homeless anymore, to be honest. So it's like, I mean, I shouldn't be like, I don't know. It's just how people want to make me feel about my situation is really crazy. And like I said, I don't talk to people, so it's not like I really have anybody. But people do come into my life and like make little comments and about pretty much how I should feel depressed. And they want me to be like running around talking about driving off a cliff like they are. And I don't like it. I don't know who would, to be honest. But to add something else that I forgot about, it reminds me of how I realized a long time ago, or I guess I could say a little while ago, since leaving or escaping, because it's been easier to really think about things like this, because there's not constant chaos. But I have to find and make my ideal situation, but I also don't really know what that is. And like, I remember even when I was 10, asking a girl, I recently had this, like, I don't want to say flashback because it's not even like a traumatic thing, but I don't know, I recently had this memory of when I was 10, and I asked this girl in my class, because this was the last time I went to school, because I didn't go to middle or high school, so this was, elementary, 5th grade, and I was like, is it normal to never want anything? And she was like, I guess. I don't know. I don't really remember her response. That's not really the point. But a long time ago, I noticed that I really never wanted anything. And I would even get in trouble for it because my abusers, especially when I moved in with my mom and the Cash for Kids system abuse started, and she had this boyfriend. This was when I got around the time I got my first maybe 2 or 3 evidence channel videos before I really started like focusing on the evidence channels at 14. He being the boyfriend would be like, well, I don't even know how to explain it, but I guess I can't even think of like a good example. He would just try to use me, never want anything against me, and try to use it as proof that I was quote unquote retarded, because they wanted me to like want to ask them for food and pretty much basic needs, to be honest, so they could use it against me. But I never asked for any of that stuff, and I would just try to like find ways to make money to get things on my own. Because I learned even before moving to my mom, like at 6, I made up this saying, if you want something done at all, you got to do it yourself. And so like, they wanted to be able to have things to dangle over my head and use against me. So like, I asked for something to eat or whatever, you can't get something to eat because we don't like the way you walk. I don't know, that's probably a bad example. I mean, they would say some bullcrap like that, but that's like an example. They wanted me to want things, to be able to dangle basic needs and stuff over my head, but I just wouldn't ask them for anything, and I would try to find ways to make money to get stuff on my own, or I'll just go without it. And because of that and other stuff, it makes me wonder though, how much do I really not want things, or do I just like not want to want things? But it's still like, I don't even really know though. Because, I mean, then and even now, I'm not into materialistic stuff. Really, the only thing I do want when I do want something is really food. And like before I started like accepting the fact that I was gonna have to cure my own chronic illness, I did like used to want to not be gaslit by abusers, people around me, and the medical system. But that's kind of whatever, because I mean, with the type of issues I have, like only like a naturopath or something would even like really even deal with stuff like that. So I mean, I'm pretty much on my own with that, but I don't mind it, because I've fixed a lot of issues and figured a lot of things out the past couple years of curing my own chronic illness. But that also kind of reminds me of something else, though. I've always known that the school system is for indoctrination and stuff, but sometimes I even still do have dreams about, like, if I was in high school right now and how it would be. But it's so funny, though, because I know it's magical thinking, and I know that, like, I'll just be getting bullied, and also my physical health is honestly way too bad for me to even, like, try to do something like that. But more so I'd be getting bullied and I wouldn't fit in. It would just be some bull crap and a waste of time. But I still do, like, have dreams about if I was in school right now, in high school, and, like, I don't know, just being around people my age instead of, like, either being by myself or being around a whole bunch of, not that I hang around chomos, a lot of people do that, I don't hang around them, but I am, like, just due to the situations I'm usually in, even before I escaped, I'm usually around, like, 40-year-olds and stuff, so, and, like, I don't want to get into the whole abuse evidence channels on here. I don't even remember enough of my life to really do that. But to summarize, if I can figure out how to summarize this, because my phone's on 3, there was a point in time where I, like, in my abuse situation, in my castrate system abuse, this was, like, a little before I escaped, I think. And, like, I had this one, I guess she was a therapist or counselor that my mom had got me signed up for. And this was the first one to ever say, okay, well, this is the first castrate system staff in general to ever actually talk to me, because for one, I had one therapist before, I think, but like I wasn't allowed to talk to them. That's funny as that is. I wasn't allowed to even talk to them, but I was able to talk to this one, and like she even had my number. But eventually my mom got really paranoid, and my mom's boyfriend was like, you can't trust MFers, and my mom called this therapy place and cursed them out and threatened them because she thought they called CPS, but it actually was like some other person I knew who like watched my abuse evidence videos and stuff. But anyways, I eventually had to stop talking to this therapist, and it's so funny because I remember, I still have flashbacks of one time when she was like, I'm not scared of your mom's threats, and that was before the whole cursed out and threatened thing by my mom and told to stop talking to me even happened. This was like, she said this like way before then, but anyways, I remember this one time when she was like, she tried to pull this like little empath, what is it called? Not telekinesis, clairvoyant bullcrap, where she was like, I know what's wrong, and I know how you, she would do some like little, good witch, new age bullcrap like that. But she was like, I know what's wrong with you. Not like in a rude way wrong with, but you don't have anybody you can trust and you don't have any friends. But it's like, I don't even know though, because by then I could care less about the whole buddy friend bull crap, because like, I mean, I had been tired for a couple years by that point of the attachment issues. For when I was really in too many isolated situations to even really make any friends my age still now. But I was tired of the attachment issues. I realized that honestly, aside from the limerence attachment and like my abuse situation being too much for some people, I was really talking to a lot of people that I honestly had nothing in common with when I would talk to people before I stopped, kind of at 12, more so 14. And it's like, I don't have anything in common with these people. I can't even really have a conversation with them. Like, I want to talk about real stuff, like business or like, I don't know, just different things. But they want to talk about bull crap, like bull crap with the agendas pushed in music, I don't know, being a stripper, stupid stuff. And it's like, honestly, this isn't even really worth it. And I mean, of course, feeling like you need to be like a stripper, just hypersexuality in general comes from like neglect and abuse. I know it's a trauma symptom, but it's like, just, I don't know, talking to people that like I probably just shouldn't be and just have nothing in common with. So yeah, it's like that, and the fact that after a while I realized that I honestly didn't even like most people I meet. So I don't remember what point I was getting at, but I realized that. And it's like, I mean, I do still often feel like The only thing I really want, is like real family, or at least somebody that I have something in common with, or maybe like get along with, they can trust to talk about things with. Not even the whole trustworthy adult thing, because honestly, I don't even trust older people. It seems like everybody that's older than like, I don't know, 30 is like a chomo, or they're just like toxic and abusive. Or really people in their 40s on up. And these are the people that want to call themselves the elders, but they're all like in the pederasty, or they just have like issues. They think that they're Tupac, that little chomo download dude, different stuff like that. They just look up to these little industry plant people, and they uplift child abuse and all types of bull crap.